I never dreamed I'd be up here giving, we'll call it my testimony, but when Dennis asks, you say yes. So Dennis, a few weeks ago, when he knew Anna was having her baby and that he may be gone on a Sunday, he asked if I would give my talk that I gave for the baccalaureate for Lexi's graduation. So I've updated that talk and that message, and I'd like to share it with you. What's interesting, first of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. Preparing for the baccalaureate and for today was surprised me how enjoyable and good it was for me. It forced me to stop and reflect on my life and my spiritual journey. It made me have to put into words my journey in faith, my beliefs, and made me contemplate, well, what sage advice, if any, I could give graduating seniors. As I prepared this week, just give me a second. As I prepared this week and took time to reflect, I realized that a key part of my spiritual sense and journey, comes from the people in this church. All of you have made a major impact on my beliefs, how we raise our kids, and how we live our lives. I think of Kathy Hunn, teaching choir to my kids for so many years, Gregory Merwin, and his truly inspired music, of our wonderful choir, of Dave Wilson, and the wonderful hugs and love you always show my girls. In all of you, just for the love that you've given our family and the countless volunteer hours. Also, just give me a second here. And especially for Pastor Dennis, I think of him on his knees in the morning, praying for each of us. You have helped teach me what is important in life. Thank you. So before I begin, I want to comment on something that I learned over the last few weeks in teaching Sunday school on Genesis. A concept from the lesson really resonated with me. All right, who knows what Genesis means? The beginning. What else does it mean? Creation. Ryan, speak up here. What does it mean? Come on, you learned it. All right, I'll go to Cambria. Cambria? Come on. Oh, James? Generations. It also means generations. And in Genesis, many of God's covenants are for the future generations. Great things will happen for Abraham's, Isaac's, and Jacob's future lineage if they follow the Lord. It's the long view. If they would do the right thing now, their future offspring for many, many generations will be blessed. What struck me is how easy it is to get so caught up in our own immediate happiness that we forget about how our current actions, inactions affect our future generations. As a youth, staying healthy, developing your talents, developing your faith, preparing yourself for adulthood, for marriage. As an adult, being a good spouse, parent, and community member, and passing down our faith to our kids. When we are at the end of our time here on earth, how we have influenced our future generations is what will matter. I believe our pastor, elders, and church body understand and practice this. So back to the baccalaureate. So I started off encouraging the seniors to take the time to reflect, to bring the end, being the end of an important phase of their life and the beginning of another. Now that they were graduating, did they enjoy the journey? How did they do? Are they prepared for the next phase? Life is a continuum of different phases and goals. Grammar school, middle school, high school, college, career, marriage, kids, repeat. The goals are important, but it is the journey itself that is where life happens. It is a fun and exciting journey. Enjoy it. At the different waypoints along the journey of life, it is important to think about where you have been, how you did, what you might do the same or different as we move into the next phase. Isn't that the truth? Their theme for baccalaureate was flourish. I love the word. I love the concept. That is what we are supposed to do. To me, flourishing is developing and using all of our God-given talents to the best of our abilities and in a non-selfish way. We all have different gifts, talents. We are to discover them and use them. My question to them was, where is the guidebook to help them make the right decisions that will allow them to flourish as adults? All right, my beliefs. I grew up a lot like the kids in our church. I attended Trinity Presbyterian Church in West Sacramento. I was part of the youth group. I lived on 5 acres in Southport along the river in an old country house. It was before the internet and before cell phones, and I had a lot of time alone, working, riding my horse, running, or even sitting on hay bales watching the clouds and reflecting. Thinking about it now, it was this alone time that allowed me to have a special relationship with God. College. I didn't leave my beliefs, but also did not continue to invest in them. I went to the campus church rarely. However, one thing I did notice was how many of my friends at Stanford had been raised as Christians. Also, I spent some time wrestling with the big questions. Is there a God? If so, what is his relationship to us? Eric Endo was a roommate of mine, a great friend, and one of the smartest people I have known. While he was on break from medical school at Harvard, we took a trip together to a friend's wedding, and on the plane, we started discussing our faith. From all that he learned as a medical student, he realized how super complex life was, and he believed that there was no way this could have happened by chance. He believed there had to be a creator. All creators love their creations. All creators love their creations and want their creations to thrive, to flourish, to do well. Therefore, it made sense to Eric that this creator would provide prophets, wisdom, and finally, his only son, to help give his creation the guidance that would help his creation flourish. His thoughts made good sense to me at the time and still do. Karen and I teach Sunday school, and this concept is part of what we teach. God loves us, and because he loves us, he wants us to do well, and to teach us how to do well, he has provided us advice, rules, wisdom through the Bible. We try to teach our Sunday school kids about morals taught in the Bible. I think that sometimes when we hear the word morals, it sounds old-fashioned or out of date. It is certainly not a term or a concept that our current culture promotes. But I strongly believe that if we try to follow the morals, wisdom taught in the Bible, we have a greater chance of a fulfilled life. I don't believe that God designed life so that if we do everything right, whatever that might mean, life is going to go perfect. We all know that there will be many bumps along the path. But as a math person, I believe it is a percentage game, and the better we follow the rule book, the better chance for a good outcome. Not only that, but when we do hit those rough spots, it is good to have God on our side and the perspective and lessons taught in the Bible, not to mention the love and support of our church family. Thinking about what some of those morals, wisdoms that are taught in the Bible are, put someone, something other than yourself first, i.e. put God first. Long-term perspective, generations. Love thy neighbor, help others. Discover and use your talents. Work hard, be loyal, take care of your body, be faithful in marriage, be a good parent. Forgiveness, pretty good set of rules. Let the Bible be our reference as we all strive to flourish. Science doesn't intimidate my beliefs. It enhances it. I embrace science and believe the more we discover, the more we find there is to discover. If we trace the existence of the universe back to the black hole, then the question becomes, where did it come from and what was before it? Infinity cannot be answered. except with God. Okay, 55, some life lessons that I have learned. A man's pride brings him low, but a man of lowly spirits gains honor. Proverbs 29:23. Be humble. I have been given a lot of opportunities, and I have had a lot of success in my life. But every single time that I have let it go to my head, i.e. putting myself first, I have fallen on my face. God has had to put a lot of work into me. Many examples, but a couple of the highlights. Into my sophomore year of high school. As my dad had kept telling me for years, I was a late bloomer. But then, sophomore year, I started to finally bloom. Everything seemed to be going my way. My athletics, academics, friends, you name it, it was going great. And it went to my head. I decided to run for class president. It was a sure thing. I was running against someone that wasn't popular at all. I knew I was going to win, so I did not put the effort in. As you guess, I lost. My big head was popped. Lesson learned, or should have been learned. I've had to relearn that lesson many, many times. Applying to college as a senior, I thought I was good. I was going to get into a great school. However, I did not get into Berkeley nor Stanford like I knew I would. I didn't have a backup plan. Many, many times in business, when I would start having success, when I let it go to my head, that success quickly disappeared. Stay humble. As best I can, I try to catch myself when everything is going well, and I start thinking my success is because of me. I try to stop and give thanks to God and to the other people in my life that have helped make it happen. I give thanks to Pastor Dennis, my wife, certain friends, and others for praying for me. It's a deep belief for me that something special happens when you can stay humble and put God and others first. Something special happens through the power of prayer. Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. I freely interpret that to mean take chances, be adventurous, take advantage of opportunities. I've tried to do this all my life, and it makes for an exciting time. My first big time of doing this was after I graduated from James Marshall in West Sac, a small high school. I was leaving to be a Rotary exchange student in Chile. Before I left, my dad's advice, take chances. Put yourself in as many difficult situations as you can so that you will learn that you can get out of them. Who thinks that was good advice to a 17-year-old boy that grew up in a very sheltered environment, that did not speak Spanish, going to a South American country that was being run by a military dictator? I took the advice and grew a lot from it. I went to high school there, I learned Spanish, I played rugby, I was a construction laborer, I went to the university, and I traveled a lot. I also spent a lot of time praying during the tough and lonely times. My biggest adventure was a 2-week hitchhiking trip with a Chilean friend all the way to the southern tip of Chile. We had homemade backpacks. I had $90 that I earned over the 3 weeks of working as a laborer. Met all sorts of interesting people and had all sorts of adventures, from being on a mail boat with dolphins along the side, taking us to a remote island, to riding an old steam engine train through a mountain pass, playing frisbee with locals in remote villages, running out of money, and having to borrow from people we barely knew so we could take the train the 18 hours home to make it in time for college. Stuff I never would have experienced if I did not take a risk and go on this trip. Dad's advice was right. The trip changed me, grew me in different ways, gave me tremendous confidence for the future. I also reapplied to Stanford while I was there and was accepted. Take advantage of opportunities. Put yourself in challenging situations. You will grow, and it is a heck of a lot of fun. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. 2 Corinthians 9:6. In other words, donate time and money. I first discovered this as a young engineer in LA. Never that good at budgeting, struggling to make ends meet, no savings. I started going back to church, more about that later, and started giving money. Seemed like it would hurt. Funny thing was that it seemed that the more I gave, the more I seemed to have. I started saving. I try to do the same with business and make sure our business is giving back to the community and to our employees. It works. Donate time. As important as giving money, give of yourself and your talents. Charter school. We moved to Clarksburg with our 4 kids, and a year afterwards, that's when they were closing the school. It was a huge investment in time and effort. I did it initially because of my family and because I thought it was important for our community. I was busy at home and at work, and I did not have time. But what I discovered was that I personally got more out of it than anyone. I got to know and work with a lot of wonderful people in our community. I learned a ton about education, management, and myself. I made great friends, even decided to start a winery with some of those friends because we enjoyed each other so much. My belief in the power of prayer was reinforced. Not what I expected when I started the journey. Teaching Sunday school. About 8 years ago, Karen talked me into teaching Sunday school for 1 year only. She denies that now, but it was 1 year only. I was really reluctant. Big commitment, Wednesday nights, prepare for the lessons, get to church early, etc. We have done it ever since, and I love it. What a blast, getting to know and teach the kids in our church, not to mention how much I have learned and how my faith and understanding of the Bible has increased. Summary, God wants us to give of our money, time, and talents to help others, but also to help ourselves. It makes you other-focused. Great feeling. And I know I don't need to tell the people of this church anything about giving of their time and resources, but this was for the senior class. Invest in friends and family. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. I constantly relearn the importance of investing in relationships with my friends and family. I had a lot of wonderful friends in college. We had done a lot together. On graduation day, the father of one of my good friends told my friend and me, stay in contact with each other and continue to put effort into our friendship. Otherwise, this was all for naught. Many of those college friends are still great friends. It takes effort and commitment. Important to keep contacting each other and try to get together and do things. One of my good college friends is Scott, a bit of an overachiever. He went on to become a doctor and then an astronaut, and now he works for ASU as an explorer. Anyway, we have had a blast together over the past 30 years since graduation, well, 33 years. One of the main things we have done is climb mountains together. I think we've done 16 or so 14ers. Many adventures in doing this. One was a trip he organized where we went up the side of a mountain cliff without all the proper knowledge. In dark, halfway up, we had to climb down. Anyway, we were supposed to get up there by 11 o'clock, and pretty soon it got dark on us about 6 o'clock. We had to come down a glacier in the middle of the night. We didn't get back to our camp until 3 in the morning. Took us 2 more trips before we summited. Then there was a trip I organized to climb Mount Shasta in the middle of the wintertime. I knew that storm wouldn't hit until after we got back the next day. It hit and caught us above tree line. Complete whiteout. Anyway, bonding experiences. Friends for life. And we have gone through life, as we have gone through life, we have helped each other up after each of us has fallen. The other thing on these trips was how it reinforced my connection to the Creator through the beauty of nature. I remember being on Mount Rainier at midnight with the full moon and looking out with the cloud cover below and the beautiful mountain peaks above. Or coming down Long's Peak at 11 o'clock at night with the moonlight over this beautiful frozen lake in the middle of the wintertime. I think the Boy Scouts and those of us who have been out in nature know how that connects us to God. Another thing on friendship, Karen's father, who passed away in the spring, was a wonderful example of someone who invested in friendships, in fellowship his entire life. In his honor, I started a small breakfast group to be together with my friends. Continue to invest in your faith. I told you about me not attending church or continuing to invest in my faith during college. Once out of the habit, I continued not to attend church on a regular basis as I started my career, even though I still prayed and still had strong beliefs. 1 year out of college, I was transferred to LA to start a new facility. I was way over my head. Within a couple of years, we had 20 engineers and over 100 production people that I was responsible for. With all the effort I put into my business, my personal life suffered. Among other things, I got engaged to the wrong person. The week before the invitations went out, the wedding was canceled and the engagement ended. I was devastated. My confidence was at an all-time low. I started going back to church and renewed my faith. It truly was transformational for me. It felt like this huge weight came off my shoulders. I have locked that feeling in and have promised never to forget it. It's locking something in. There's been many times in my life where I felt extra close to God, and each time I've stopped and reflected on it with the idea that I wouldn't forget it, and it helps during the other times. Shortly thereafter, I moved back to Sacramento and met Karen. We were engaged within a few months of meeting and were married in less than a year. The rest is history, and I haven't stopped attending church since. Don't stop investing in your faith. Make time for your relationship with God. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. In conclusion, stay humble, have adventures, donate your money and time, invest in friends and family, and continue to invest in your faith. Enjoy the journey. Anyway, I thank all of you for your love, for your friendship, encouragement and faith, and support of our family. Thank you.